Hello everybody, Casey from Koch Chemie USA, Casey at KCX on IG. We're coming out here today at H20 in Ontario, providing information on all the beautiful KCX chemicals. You know, Koch Chemie as a company's been around for over 56 years. You guys may have only recognized in the last few years here in the States. What I like to kind of bring up highline to kind of help everybody out here is kind of just deciphering and going through. Not are they just pretty bottles, all right? So the labels and everything that are on the bottles really have definition for ease for you to recognize what you're going to when you're tackling that of a vehicle. So when you're out detailing a car, there's a lot of unique things, challenges that you run into while you're out there. I'm gonna kind of help you be more relatable to what they're labeled as, so it's easier to pick up the right product to be more efficient on your side. Our products are known for being highly dilutable. So in a lot of cases where you may have been using 3-4 ounces of a product in a foam cannon, ours is 1-1.5 ounce. So you have your efficiency, plus also you have a higher yield with the product range itself. So along the way, you know, one thing I do want to know, if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask, because no question's a dumb question. That way we're all kind of going along with it. What I just like to do is kind of go through what will be a normal wash process regimen, meaning let's say we start out with the pre-wash as needed, then you're washing, then you go into decon, you know, then you're at your correct and protect. So kind of going in a flow like that based off of the products that are here right in front of us. You know, we're gonna be moving around here, doing a lot of stuff. Make sure everybody kind of introduce itself to each other, because we're one big community. And I do like to highlight that with detailing a vehicle, there's always different ways of doing it. So when you're looking at a car and you've done it a certain way and you're getting the right results, I'm not changing your methodology. I just want you to understand how the products can fit in your methods. You know, at the same end, we may have learned tips and tricks over time that have helped us out. And as a networking crew, if we help each other out, we're all winning in the end. So that's kind of where I like to start out. Use this in an engine bay, or you can highly dilute it and use it on carpet on the interior of the car. So, you know, Green Star has a lot of flexibility to it. And that's something that it's labeled on the bottles. And also, you know, we have data online you can look up, or the team here and myself, we're fluent with what it can be. I don't want to throw 100 dilution ratios at you guys, because personally, it can be a lot with numbers and it might be a little confusing, but if you guys have specific questions, I'm happy to help out with that. So pre-wash, you're in that of Green Star or Multi-Star. Green Star will be able, again, it can be diluted for interior usage, okay? The one area that we say, you know, for safety purposes, not that you guys aren't competent in tackling, let's say leather, vegan leather, anything with a top coat like that, that's when we're recommending Polestar for a cleaner. So I know I just went from the outside to the interior, but I want to stay per family, because green is clean. So these are your cleaning solutions out of the gate. Polestar is safe on leather and Alcantara. So this is a great product to have if you're stumbling on some premium vehicles, or you're like to transition to that area. Polestar also works phenomenal in one of the foamers. So it's something that you can foam directly onto an applicator or brush and clean the direct area you need to. Because like in a good analogy for like that of your Alcantara, suede, anything that is more of your fluffy materials, when you wet it, you're knocking the fibers down. So you want to make sure when you're cleaning it, you have a product on there that is able to be agitated, but not oversaturating that area. Because then you're kind of chasing yourself later on if you wanted to protect something and it's really wet, the protectant won't, you know, adhere correctly. Green Star and Multi-Star are something that highly dilutable, and that'll again help being higher pHs help with cleaning a lot of the organic matter that's on the outside of the car. So we do have what's popular, and I like to just do it because pretty much everybody's used Gentle Snow Foam. Not saying you did or didn't, but this is highly used throughout the industry. This is pH neutral when it's a foam cannon. High lubricity, has a really pleasant scent. This is something that's used on a normal regimen. You can, you know, basically foam your vehicle, and then you can also do your contact wash. And if you like to, you can foam a panel and clay with this if you wanted to, if you're using like a synthetic clay or towel. If you're trying to be more efficient rather than washing car, drying car, clay, whatever it is, it's something that you can do your panel per time with like a synthetic clay. That can be the clay lube. So a good one to have if you're into buying stuff to have conversation piece. I'm gonna pick one up myself. We're talking about green is clean down below. We do have, and they have in stock here, super foam. So I don't know if anybody's ever used this. This is a foam, washing shampoo foam, but this one is at 12 for pH. So high pH. So again, so now let's say I was going through that same car that just missed no bugs on the way back from Tahoe, and I went green is clean first, and I started getting most of it off, but it didn't get all of them off when I rinsed it. I can go with a higher alkaline foam onto that panel. This will stick and dwell and start continuing that process of pulling those bugs off. Again, letting the chemical do based off of what the vehicle is. Would I use this daily? I don't know. I don't need to, because I would go from Green Star to Gentle Snow Foam. But again, if there's residue afterwards, I know I can hit the car with this as a foam to help continue pulling off that bug. So it's less of me doing weight into the car, which I might mar it or scratch it, because I'm just putting a lot of physical force. So this one right here is great. And again, indexed on here, and I'll hand one of these around because they're a lot lighter than this guy. So let me pass this one around, because this is a good conversation piece. So I just showed you neutral, and then I was talking about a higher pH, all right? If you look at the label on this one right here that's being passed around, and I'll hold one up so we can see how to identify the labels. Reactivation shampoo, RS. So on this label right here, like the other one I read off 12, this one's at 1. So what would 1 mean to all of us in the room when we're working on a car? 1, now that we're going acidic, this one right here, if you're doing maintenance washes, if you have a client that has a ceramic coated car that they've called about stating that their ceramic coating looks like it's failing, and that all that is because the beads are different. And the beads can be different from industrial fallout. It can be from anything else been applied to the car. This one right here, what it will do, reactivation in its name, it's actually cutting through, let's say that industrial fallout. We're right near Ontario Airport. We have all these freight yards with the freight trains. All that contact, all that carbon that will set on there, and we'll feel the grittiness. This right here will help pull a lot of the contamination off of that top surface to where now, the next time the car is wet, the customer will see the beading they had in the first place, because now you reactivated the ceramic coating you did, let's say 6 months or a year ago. Because it's the stacking of other layers on it that kind of makes the beads different. They differentiate over time. So this one is acidic. So again, high pH, that's getting out you're playing with that more of your organic side of things. And this one right here will be going more man-made or the industrial style of fallout. So again, tackling a car, depending on what the wants and needs of a car is, you know, originally when I first started using the product myself, I was like, I don't like having multiple bottles. But when I realized what each of these bottles does for me, once your performance and efficiency goes up, you're technically making more money as well. So that's why it's good to kind of see and kind of get an idea on the indexing of the bottle. So we talked that of neutral, high, low pH, and then one other one that we get questions quite a bit on, which is landing at 5.5, but once you dilute it, it's a little bit different, meaning it's closer to neutral. Nano Magic shampoo, this one has a protectant in it. So if you're doing a regimen with a customer where you're wanting to foam a vehicle and have some sort of protectant added to it, this one is foam and rinse, and you have a protectant that's in the shampoo itself. So depending on your work cycle, what you're doing with the client, that kind of will land, again, based off of the paint's what's telling you what it needs. You know, the wants and needs of the car and the customer. Just make sure you're checking both boxes off, then everybody's happy. Any questions on the shampoos at all? And I don't want to be going too fast because we'll do some hands-on stuff too, and I want to know what you guys want to see. So yeah, go ahead.
The RS, can you use that as a stripper soap, just so that way you're prepping up for a ceramic coating to take off any all waxes?
It will take a lot out of it, yes. But a lot, again, with a wax component, especially carnauba, because it's natural, that's when you go alkaline. You know, so you can technically use a combination of both depending on what the surface needs. From there, the one that we do like to describe and does very well with a lot of our mobile detailers is this band right here, which is a unique colorway out of our chart in this of a, let's say, a copper protector wax. Anybody here using protector wax at all? Okay, cool, awesome. Great product. This one right here it's in our category called a drying aid, all right? So after you did your shampoo, so you did your pre-wash, your shampoo, now you have a product that you can foam on and rinse off. This will give you protection on the car. The reason why it's in the category called a drying aid is now after foaming your client's car with this and then rinsing it off with high pressure water, you're only using 1 ounce to 1.5 ounces, not much product at all. Now the surface of the car, when you first were washing it, you saw it sheet and the whole hood was covered with water. This breaks the surface tension and it'll make it instantly, like the car's like 99% dry. You can either dry it with a blow dryer or you're not loading your microfibers. If you're out there doing multiple cars in a day, having less water to take off of a car, you're boosting your efficiency by having cleaner, drier towels because you're not pulling that much water with you. You know, and so this one comes in If you're looking to do for a customer, you're kind of going off, let's say like a wash and wax. Well, technically you're washing, and this was your wax portion. So you're not manually applying something. So again, you can get through the car quicker, more efficient. But the nice thing about being a drying aid, again, now less load on your towels. Or if you like to market yourself as being more of a touch-free finish, well, yeah, you can use a leaf blower, air blower, whatever your choice is, and get through the car really quick after having something like this on the surface. So washing-wise, I just showed you how you can basically, well, describe, didn't show, how you can go through that of pre-wash, shampoo, and then drying aid. One product that I'll bring up that it's kind of like goes a lot through the socials, you guys are on IG, SO03 is a new product coming out that will be a foam on, rinse off, similar to that, but it'll be labeled very similar to one of these bad boys. So it's a newer product coming out later this month. So they're in tune with what's coming down the pipeline. I like to bring it up in case you're wondering where that's going to land. It's going to land, very close to like what we're doing with Protector Wax. Different chemical, but something that can be put on the vehicle as a finish. Wash and decon. Usually, what I've done and what I was trained to do is wheels first. I went into shampooing and all that out of the gate. But our red labels will be indexing for, in this case, we have RR, which is reactive rust remover, which will give you the purpling on the panel. Then we have magic wheel cleaner and alkaline wheel cleaner. There is an acid over here, so if you guys do want to use an acid, he does have it in stock, and he has a larger container. The 5-liter of magic wheel cleaner is really the one that, as you start using the product, it's good to have around because you have a lot higher of a yield compared to having that of 500 milliliters. But magic wheel cleaner and alkaline wheel cleaner. So again, now we're kind of going through that of the pH. This bad boy right here is at 14, all right? So why is this in the ecosystem? Well, we've had a lot of people asking for, can this be diluted? What can I do with magic wheel cleaner, et cetera, et cetera. This is, you can dilute this bad boy. So this is something that in your arsenal, I've used it a lot with different sprayers, especially more of like an IK sprayer. I can put it in there, pump it, and then I can have it stick and dwell very well to both that of the wheel and the tire. Whereas magic wheel cleaner, if you guys have used it, it's more viscous to where it sticks. And the reason why it does that and why we don't recommend actually, diluting it, you can do whatever you want with the product. We don't recommend it because inside a barrel of a wheel, as you're, like we have the M4 outside, as you're shooting the top of the barrel, you want it to cling, to let it do its thing. And if it's a little bit thinner, it's gonna drip off, so you have a spot that's not having as much dwell time of the chemical. This one is a thicker spray than like rapid rust remover, which both work on the outside of the car. Neither one will harm paint or anything like that. And if you're doing high level cars with like carbon brakes and stuff, then you have yourself a solution that's safe on that vehicle. Because again, this one coming in here at 5, so you're below. So again, it'll work better with the industrial stuff, which is your brakes, your brake dust and all that can be etching on the surface. And this will also show purpling, and it creates a high amount of foam. So when you're using your brushes, whether it's a microfiber or a barrel brush, you'll get that frothy action there, which what that's doing is it's helping the chemical also dwell a little bit longer before you rinse it off. So you're getting more and more effectiveness out of it. So that's kind of a high level between these two. It's been asked a lot, so there's a lot of information on the web, but at the same time, if you guys have info you want nailed down today, we can talk more about it. But again, you're really looking at these bottles, like I kind of said with the foam, the same way, meaning in this category, now we have something it's alkaline or acidic. They fall on either side of the scale. So that's wheels. In our colorways, we do the silver and black will be more of your protectants. Okay. Plastar. Anybody here use Plastar? Okay. So Plastar works phenomenal on plastic trim. One area, like especially if you guys do any Sprinter vans or anything with 1 million miles of black plastic that turns gray in a day. This is something great to protect it. And this is formulated specifically for that style of plastic, meaning this absorbs very well into it. And after it's cured, it almost looks like you ceramic coated the plastic, meaning when water hits it, it beads up very well. So Plastar, it's something silicone free, can be in a body shop. But this one right here is great for your plastic trim around a vehicle. So you can call it a restoration product. I call it more of a preservation product. So when somebody gets, these overland vans as an example, they're $500,000, $250,000 for these big overland vans, and the plastics, you want to protect it. This is something good out of the gate to protect that of plastics around. I'm using Sprinter Van as an example. Then we have in the same colorway, where's my tire glaze? Here, tire glaze. So this is newer to the lineup. So the two newest chemicals that they got right away here for you guys, these are the newest ones that came out this last month. So they always are up to, you know, as in ahead of the game when it comes to what's available for you guys. Tire glaze. So tire glaze, now you're getting something that a tire is continuing to off-vent, off-gas, and that's what the browning and ballooning is. A tire is always changing, meaning from when it comes out of its mold to, you know, its end of life. This is something that will absorb into the sidewall. Can PSS be used as a tire glaze? I mean, you can shine a tire up with it, yes. But the formulation of this is designed to give you better absorption in the sidewall. And I also say this is more of a natural look. Where do you qualify natural looks? I see performance cars, like BMW outside, Porsche, you name any of these cars. I like something that looks like a protected tire, not a glossy tire. So that's kind of in the description when you're talking with your client. Because you're talking two totally different products for how it's being finished. This one right here will give a really nice performance natural look, but also be easier for you to apply, just straight on the applicator and start going at it. Because it has a high yield, so a good stretch to it. If you're on a larger, let's say, truck with a larger sidewall, then I would mist it actually onto the tire and then work it around the surface. But TG, again, rubber tires, PSS, all the plastics. Can they overlap? Yes, I mean, you can use stuff for whatever you like, but again, for the longevity of the product, use them kind of where they're actually formulated for. So now that's protection on your plastics. Do you guys in here do many, let's say, engine compartments, engine bays? Engine bays at all? Okay, so one that I really like to highlight in the same silver wrap here is anybody use Motorplast? You've done engine, use this at all? Phenomenal product. So nice thing about what we have here for everybody that hasn't jumped into, let's say, doing engine work, engine cleaning, whether it's for a dealership or somebody wants to get their car back to new condition, you would wash with a alkaline cleaner, so like Green Star, so that'll be your pre-cleaning portion. Always proof an engine bay. Watch your electrical, make sure fuse boxes are closed. If they have a cold air intake, you want to bag the open element. Because you don't want to flood an engine bay. You want to, clean the surface, allow the alkaline product to do it, use a detail brush on the plastic, the top surfaces, rinse, okay? And then once it's rinsed, I technically like to go back with, let's say, a blower or something just to get the pooling water from the intake manifold, the top of the engine, so I don't have a gallon of water sitting there for my customer. Blow that out. You don't need to dry the whole engine. Mist this on all the plastics. So evenly mist it on the plastics while it's wet. Close the hood, it's self-leveling. So this does the work for you. It's anti-static, gives you a like-new finish without having to dress inside the engine bay. So now it's something that you can have as part of your package of, let's say, renewing your ride. Well, I do your engine bay too, and this is what's part of the surface. For you, it's not extra work because you're able to, again, spray this onto the surface, and just uniform. Doesn't need to be liberal, just uniform throughout on the plastics. Close the hood. This thing's stable up to 250 degrees Celsius, so it's not going to burn off of anything, and it'll give a very good, again, restored look. Yes, sir.
On cold engines or cold and warm engines?
So it'll work on both because it's temperature sensitive, what it can handle temperature-wise. But when you're washing it, you're wetting it, so you're cooling it at the same time. Yeah, but this one can go on finish. But usually whenever I've done engine bays, I like to have a cool car, not something that just drove 50 miles to get to me. Because again, that's where when you're in front of the vehicle, you're looking and you're reading the car based off of what it is and what you can do to it. It's the same with wheel cleaning. Wheel cleaning to me on something that's been driven hard to me, like big brakes on the front of your car outside right there, I gotta flood that to cool them down before I put any product on it, because a wheel is one of the biggest heat sinks on the car. It's your brake rotors and your rubber tires making it fluctuate. So surfaces, before you put any chemicals on it, again, test your temperatures to where you're not, applying product to something that's a little too warm. So great question. It can go on all the surfaces, meaning, once you wash it, I just do the top of the plastics because you're not having to dress valve covers or anything, you know what I mean? So yeah, and again, it gives that nice finished look under the hood. Once they pop the hood open, it's dressed without you manually applying anything.
Because it's self-levels.
Yes. Yep. So that's one area, again, kind of to add ideas as you're going along. You know, like protector wax is a great way for finishing the vehicle on the outside. This is a great way for finishing under the hood with minimal amount of work. You know, the one you're foaming on, rinsing off. This one you're spraying on surfaces and closing the hood. So why not, you know, jump into these tactful areas that could be, you know, $50 here, $100 there, depending on what you have in your pricing system. Going further through the colors, I'll go into the black labels here, which will be still silver and black in your finishing. We have what my go-to of the lineup. I love Quick and Shine. Reason why I like being able to use less bottles whenever possible. Quick and Shine is something that is phenomenal for all your touch points on the outside of the vehicle, but also is safe to spritz on a microfiber towel to do, let's say, the top of your dash, top of the doors, because it has the UV inhibitor to it. So it's something that you can do harder plastics on the interior of the car with one spray. So I'm not having to have 1,000 sprays. This one I know I can pick up, especially my final QC on the car. If the mirrors start crying or something happens, I know I can do a quick shot with one bottle, clean it up, and then it's ready for delivery. So this one is very versatile. Again, QS can be used inside and outside of the car on hard touch points of the interior, then throughout the exterior of the vehicle, on all surfaces, meaning even plastic trim or anything like that, for a you know, Quick and Shine, for that of a detailer. FSE, Finish Spray Exterior. So now we talked about one, well, what would this be different? So FSE, this one right here, can also help with removing some fine minerals on the vehicle. So let's say after a rainstorm. This is not a water spot remover for something that is etched deep into there, but at the same time, if we just get a storm going through here that may throw some atmospheric, you know, carbon and debris on the vehicle, this is something that's good to help pull some of that out of a spray. You know what I mean? Again, Quick and Shine, that's the go-to in the category for me. Everybody has their own feeling. SO01, this right here is a finishing wax. So if somebody likes to use a liquid wax, that's where this one comes into play. Can be hand applied or with a machine. One that I love using, and I've used quite a bit, I don't know if anybody in here has used SO02. Last year at SEMA show, I worked on a 1955 Pontiac Chieftain, a Car V. So something that was turned into an RV in the 60s. Polished the vehicle out, had it all ready for central haul, and I wanted to originally ceramic coat it, didn't have time, so I applied this on there, and the paint just popped. Adds a lot of depth of color. It's a quick way to seal a vehicle, but give a very, very strong appearance, almost like that of being a ceramic coated car. You know, so it's something, depending on your timeline and the customer's budget, they want a little more protection, but you know, it's not in their alignment right now to, let's say, coat a car. Another thing that you can do as a finishing step to elevate not only just the ticket price, but also longevity protection on your client's vehicle.
That contains silica?
Yes. Then we have ASE. So now I'll go into the blue label. So blue is in your, like, let's say, standardized cleaning class, meaning something that is a good cleaner, but at the same time has versatility to it. ASE, all-around surface cleaner. So throughout the interior of a car, this right here can be used on all surfaces. What I predominantly use it personally is, let's say, the front end of the cockpit, meaning your dash. This can work on touch screens. If you have a car with burl wood, carbon fiber, any of those other hard finishes, aluminum, stainless steel, this won't streak. So it's a great product to use cleaning all those other areas. It can work on you know, other soft points, but that's when I usually go towards Polestar for cleaning personally, because it's actually an alkaline cleaner, and you'll get a high yield out of that for the seats. But again, for all your touch points up front, this is a phenomenal product, and it'll do a lot for you in your regiment of cleaning, again, throughout the front of the cabin. Because you can use it touchscreen. I mean, like, look at the dash of that car out there, a beautiful car, and you have this much is just a screen on the front of the vehicle, you know? So that's something that can clean that without having to go to, let's say, usually it would be more like a glass cleaner. We do have a glass cleaner, works phenomenal, pretty self-explanatory, safe on films and everything you have for your interior. It's just part of the ecosystem. Play sprays, again, self-explanatory. These ones, you're ready to use, you're good to go. Don't need a ton of explanation other than the fact that ASC does have a lot of flexibility inside the cabin. You know, so if you haven't used it and you start and you look at certain regiments where you've gone through certain touch points with a couple different chemicals, add that one, you'll see that it covers a lot of the points of what you've been doing with maybe a few other things. TG, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fragrances. We have one fragrance. Fresh Up. Fragrance would be a purple band. So this is something that is going to give you, it is an odor eliminator, but also gives a nice refreshing scent on the interior of the car. You have a lot of fragrances you can choose from in here. This one right here is to give something pleasant that's unique, but at the same time, help with eliminating odors. A lot of customers use this when they're doing floor mats. Like let's say rubberized floor mats were known very well for Gummy Fix, which I'll get to in a moment. But when the floor mats are out and you've cleaned them and you dress them with Gummy Fix, spray this on the carpet below where the mats are about to go, and you'll get a nice, natural, long-lasting Fresh Up fragrance in the car because it's protected below the mat. And then like I was mentioning, I was going to go into protectants, teal. So this colorway here, now we're talking protectants. So I mentioned Gummy Fix a second ago, which I'll go back to, but I'd like to address Top Star and Leather Star. So this is your interior protectants. Top Star working on all your hard surfaces, your plastics, any of those surface areas. The main difference when you go into Leather Star, this is something that is a great protectant for not only leather, vegan leather, anything with a top coat. So, because you're working on a top coat, just so we're on the same page, there's a lot of different terminology for the substrate, for what the material is in a car, vegan leather. I mean, you can name 1,000 different things. We're working with protecting that and conditioning the top coat that's protecting whatever material that we're sitting on. Leather Star is safe on all those areas, including that of Alcantara. So this is great. Also, it's very liquidy. Some out there are lotions. You may have heard me before and other things talking about it. Every chemical service is perfect. So this one's nice because you can evenly distribute it on a vehicle that has 10,000 perforations in it. And if it's a black leather, you're not filling it with a white material. It's something that's easy to glide on the surface. And then from there, allow it to do its work. And if you want to remove any of it, then you're more than welcome to with a microfiber towel based off of what the top coat needs on the leather itself, or vegan leather, whatever material may be. So you have Leather Star for your seating surfaces and all those touch points. Top Star, which can do all your plastics and other areas. Gummy Fix, you guys using this bad boy? So this one right here is what is really, in this last year really changed the game in a good way for safety reasons. So this is something that you're able to now wash that and clean these rubber mats that are coming in every car, and or WeatherTech and all these companies do very well in selling the mats for protecting the interior. And honestly, I love the mats because usually it knocks my interior cleaning time drastically. You just take them outside and hose them off, and you're pretty much done with the interior. But this will give you a rich, like new look. So if it's a black mat, adds a little darkness to it. But the main thing is it's not slippery. So as professionals, what we want to do is not only make a car look great, we want to make sure that we're not possibly causing any sort of hazards. So slip hazards, something that we got to look for. Prevention. So this is something that's great for finishing the mats with, and knowing that you're not adding something to the car that's adding shine, which again, somebody steps out of the vehicle and they may slip. We don't want to have that kind of occurrence. So Gummy Fix is your go-to for your mats, for again, protection of the mats and then finishing them. They add a deeper colorway to it for its finish. They do carry quite a bit of our popular items in 5 liters as well. So predominantly when you look at our lineup, these are all 1 liter bottles. These are 500 milliliters. So you're at 33.8 fluid ounces for us in the States, and then you're coming in at, what is this? Basically 16, yes, just over 16 ounces. Cost per use is very low because again, how dilutable our product is. So when you're looking at the product and you're looking at getting certain areas, check the dilution ratios, because that'll be something that helps you out with knowing what you are per car of usage. And in most wash and cleaning regimens, we're $2 to $3 in chemicals per car, which is pretty low. Lastly, in this section here, what I'd like to touch is our orange labels. These are solvents. So this will be Ulex, which is very popular throughout the industry. Ulex does very good for removing, I've done, in my case, removing PPF and having that of the actual adhesive stuck on there, because you have a great material, but when you go to peel it off, it's a nightmare. This helps get you through it a lot faster. This is a solvent and has a lot of odor. I make note of that. So if you're working in an indoors environment, I highly recommend having a respirator for something like this, because it is a highly scented solvent here. Between these two, based off of this one working fast and being very, aggressive purposefully, this product right here is great for tar removal and things like that, where you're able to spray this onto, let's say, the panel and have a little more working time. Let it do the work for you. Won't be as fast as this, and at the same time doesn't smell as strong as this product. Both of these are exterior use, okay? So these will be used on the outside of your car, sap, bubble gum, anything else that may have been slung onto a vehicle. This is to help get it off the outside. Last one, which is in its own unique bottle here, but Orange Power, don't know if anybody's used this here. Hector Jr. had a great video of taking some debris off the seat. OP is great for inside the car. So anything that is, again, organic. So let's say somebody steps in pine needles or tree sap, or they step in bubble gum and it gets onto that of a carpeted floor mat. Use this onto a microfiber, saturate the microfiber and start blotting at that spot. It'll re-engage, it'll make that bubble gum, the minerals come back to where it is alive again. You can pull it out of the surface using OP. The other thing that's nice, since it is citrus-based, then when the customer takes delivery of the car, it smells orangey rather than like gasoline. You know what I mean? Like, you want to make sure you're using the chemicals that are purposely for that area. This works phenomenal on the interior for getting out those mistakes. I have kids. It's something that I'm always chasing around trying to get the gifts I find that are left behind out. And this one becomes really a staple. So through the ecosystem, green is clean. So you have all our alkaline cleaners we talked about in the first place. Yellow is shampoos, so that's your contact wash portion. Then red would be wheels, tires, or rust remover, rubber rust remover. Going into silver and blacks, your protectants. Another solvent that's over here, panel prep, which is self-explanatory, so it's in the solvent lineup. Blue for your cleaners, ASC, great for throughout the cabin. Glass cleaner, clay spray. Teal, that colorway is coming in as your protectants. And that's high-level majority of the chemicals. Any questions on chemicals at all? Myself, I started with that of the compounds. Nice thing about the ecosystem that we have lined up is to make it simpler for you as a technician, meaning there's some products out there that are 3-step correction, some are 5-step. I mean, there's so many different things that can be done. On our end, what we have a choice of, you start with your cut, with a test spot. You're either doing a heavy cut or a fine cut. That's step one, okay? So now you're knocking down whatever defects you're looking at with your first step. So it'll be either one of these, all right? If you're gonna coat the car, it's microcut. So microcut and finish. The way I wanna kind of give you a breakdown of these labels, which makes it easier to kind of interpret when you're looking at it in the future, the numbers on here have definition as well. So when I look at H9, the 9 in that, out of 10, 9 is the cut on that one. F6, out of 10, this one, the cut is 6. Now we're at 3. So you can kind of see how they go down in aggressiveness, but at the same time, we're showing what the finish would be. So on H901, to the side right here, it says 5.0. So out of 10, this is finishing at a shine of, let's say, 5. And they also do a bar graph at the bottom. Okay, so your heaviest cut, or depending on the vehicle, you go with a fine cut. This one's going from a 6 on a cut to a 7 on a finish. So on your silvers, your lighter colored cars, this one can do a lot of vehicles in just a single pass. Then if you're going to coat and you're chasing, a lot of luster and depth to the vehicle, that's when you're at microcut. So this one's 3.2 and then a 9 on the finish. So this one's giving you a lot of gloss units. Then you panel prep and coat with your coating of choice. So you're really going either cut and then this and you're done. So if you take, I don't know, an hour to an hour and a half to machine around a car, instead of doing that 3 or 5 steps, you're finished a lot sooner with the system for the coating in. Or what I did quite a bit myself personally was I used P601. Don't know if anybody's played with this bad boy. Great money maker. This is a 1 cut and finish. So when you're looking at our compounds and you see a green line on it, just to make it easy for you, if there's a green light on there, that's showing you there's some sort of protection that's in this material.
So the green line determines that it's a diminishing abrasive technology?
All of them have aluminum oxide. They're all diminishing.
They're all diminishing abrasive technology?
Yes, yes.
So you don't use any super micro abrasives abrasive technology at all in life?
So the aluminum oxide, so that'll be doing the diminishing portion of it, yeah. So like that will be what's doing your cut to finish and how these bands are working. This one has polymer in it for a longer lasting protection for somebody looking to do a single step on a car, especially if it's something where you're just doing an enhancement compared to a correction. This one's a great way to go because it does have, a lot of strength of the polymer in it. Get a few months up to 6 months of protection out of just a polishing step. So then, whereas this one, which has a green line, it's a thinner line, this one has carnauba. So this one won't last as long, but at the same time, depending on what the car is asking for and or the client, because you can go, we're talking about heavy cut, we're talking about H9 or F6. If you want to finish the car because they're not starting coating it, you can finish with this and it has a protectant built in. So that would be the difference between these two, is just the finish of it. So they're both giving you, a cut of 3, but you're gonna have the protection in this bottle if that's what your customer's looking for. The reason why we do this is because you have different densities to the pads. Pass the bad boy around. So we have our wool, which is a high pile on that one. That one's sewn to the backing, so we have a little more durability. Our P601, which is your one cut, so this is your all-around pad. It's color indexed as well, which makes it easier for business-wise. We're mobile detailers. If you ever go to, let's say, something where you're hiring or you're having somebody work with you, or you're working in a studio, I found that, I've written SOPs, standard operating procedures, quite a bit. It's easier to index stuff off of color instead of name. So if somebody goes, hey, I have this car in here for an enhancement, get the orange bottle, orange pad, and go for it. It's just faster for somebody to kind of look into it and learn the process. And you can kind of play with these. So now we're purple, which should be the finish. Correct, yes, yeah, there you go, yeah.
I say that because I've only ran into that.
Pads are open cell foam, so they'll run cooler because it allows air to flow through the pad itself. And again, the different density you have would represent how it's working with that of the compounds. So it's something, the hole in the center helps out with cooling also. You can use it for indexing, but it's also there really to help keep the pad cooler by having another area that it's ventilating while it's moving. And they can work on all machines, meaning your rotary, force rotation, or that of a random orbital. And if somebody asks how they can do that, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the clip of the robot that they have in Germany. So we have a machine that actually they polish panels with for testing all the products, but at the same time, that's for QC. And I'll show you guys a clip a little later that I have on my phone of just that in action. So they can take any of the polishers, mount it to that of the robot, and they can control its pathway, its speed, its pressure, and everything to evaluate and sign off on products. So it's not a guessing game like saying this is better than that. When and if you see a product that evolves to something new, there's purpose behind it because there may have been an evolution in raw goods or something along those lines. What we're going to go into right now is because a lot of questions again have been on that of, let's say, wheel cleaning. When I was in Germany, the thing we do, start with wheels first. You guys can have your own methodology. It's just something that we highlight because then as you're continuing to clean the car, you're continuing to clean the wheels. They usually have the most grime on them. So what we're going to show today is I do have the AWH Alkali Wheel Cleaner. So I have this in an IK sprayer, so easy pump sprayer to lay it up on that of the wheel. This one right here, so it's a 5-to-1.
So the Alkaline wheel cleaner would work with tires as well, right?
Yes, 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 yes. So for those that have been asking for something that is dilutable, this product right here, like we're showing, something that can be used, different tools, you can put it in a trigger sprayer, whatever methodology that you like doing yourself, meaning what you have in your system. And at the same time, as you see certain tools that we're using here, they do have them available inside as something that can help complement your efficiency with the chemicals. So from here, with Alkaline Wheel Cleaner, This one will allow you can go either touchless on it or utilize your brushes to agitate, let's say, the sidewall. If it's a heavily dressed tire, this will help cut through a lot of the dressing that's on there, so you can go back to more of a raw finish to add your future tire glaze in our ecosystem.
So from here, Casey, since you saw the wheels were super dirty, usually I would feel much more comfortable washing it, like rinsing it first. Now we're not scrubbing it with all the dirt. Is that
Yeah, you can do either or. So like, again, with a lot of cases, for the chemical to do the most bite, you'd want it to not be wet.
to be
Yes,
straight?
but in the case of this one here, because what we can do for the same situation you're doing, you can start with the Alkaline, which can help cut through the organic side, rinse the wheel, and then use Magic Wheel Cleaner and do your agitation.
The agitation.
Yeah, because especially with European cars, they have great braking systems, but at the same time, they're usually throwing off a lot more brake dust. So kind of like how you pre-wash a car, it's kind of like pre-cleaning the wheel, where you give it enough time to where it's getting your organic matter off, and then you can go back with that of your next chemical. So if you like, you can rinse it off, yeah.
There's probably still some on there.
No, not too bad. Feel it.
No?
Yeah, check it out. A little bit on there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, for again, it's just something that was literally foamed on and rinsed off. It will help with getting a lot of that surface grime off of it. Not too shabby.
Not bad.
Yeah.
This is actually my first time using that.
No, it's a great product. And like I said, the versatility you have, especially when you're doing larger sidewalls on these trucks, that one, it lays up much quicker.
And then the one thing was that when I found Magic Wheel Cleaner, it was the best. And I was like, I love how you're able to scrub it and it just lasts on there for a while. Other wheel cleaners is almost immediately this thing dries off and it's not working on the wheel as good.
Yeah.
And I don't like to use acid. Acid is very versatile too, but especially on like the rotors, the acid will eat it up too.
Yeah. So again, Magic Wheel Cleaner Safe is your safest source for getting cleaning on the wheel. Does have a long dwell time because it is a little more viscous than a lot of the other chemicals. So let me lay this bad boy up. Then do you want to agitate it afterwards?
Yeah, I'll
cool.
agitate it.
Thank you, sir.
¿De qué? Pues desde este lo usarías más para trabajarlo.
So with this chemical right here, you'll have a long work time, but it'll also, it has foaming agents to it. So as it's agitated, it will start to foam even more, which will give you, added time for your cleaning power on that of the wheel. So in your arsenal, with whichever, and you can see how much it's producing. If you guys on this side and you haven't used it before, kind of, go around and you can see on the other side of Hector over here, just how much, while he's agitating, how much foam is created. And that right there is your friend for, that of the lubricity while working on it, but at the same time, having, extra cleaning power while you're going to the next section, because you're basically working through windows while you're cleaning the wheel. We went through that of the Alkali Wheel Cleaner up front, kind of like as a pre-wash, and went to Magic Wheel Cleaner because the amount of, man-made product that was on there, meaning your brake dust. Performance cars, you're usually a roughly 80-20 on the braking. So you'll have 80% more braking in the front than the rear. So usually that's why you see when you're working on these cars, the front wheels look copper and the back ones look fine. It's just the amount of braking force and the size of the pads. So in this case right here, we're using just Alkali Wheel Cleaner on the back. So hands-on wise can see the results with just using that product and not having to use, let's say, two. It's in pretty good condition, but what this is really doing right now is it's helping break down again more of the organic matter. So your dust, your debris, if there's any bugs that unfortunately met their match on the front end of the car, this is something that'll help break down those pieces before you get into your contact wash. So usually you're just doing your front end because that's where you're seeing most of the abuse from, let's say, elements and or our friendly little bugs. And with this product, depending on, again, the panel temperature and what you're working with outside, judge it off of how much dwell time you're having because of the conditions. So like even in the case of this, because it's a pretty clean car, you're ready to rinse, you're good. Yeah, yeah. Yep. Yeah, now using gentle snow foam. So gentle snow foam being pH neutral, so as you did any of the alkaline product on the outside of the body, this will also neutralize it and give you lubricity for your contact wash. So now we're just going through with protector wax. Again, this is in the category of a drying agent. So this is something you can foam on to the vehicle itself, foam on, let it dwell and rinse it off. So you don't need to agitate. This is a finishing product. Yes, sir.
Dilution on it is
1 ounce in the whole bottle. So when you're looking at it as a drying aid, once you're done rinsing off the car, how minimal amount you're going to be loading up your microfiber towel. Yeah. So this is not obviously a A-grade hood, but we're just doing it for testing purposes. Ooh, it sounds delicious. Ooh, that's a good one. And all I'm going to do, like, high level, what we're going to just address really is kind of, playing with the product for a moment and how, again, it's a two-step system we're using, and with how this sounds, obviously it's going to really like a heavy cut. And I won't be chasing perfection on this bad boy right now, but just to get a idea on how the product works. So all I'm doing initially is just getting it to where I'm distributing the product over the pad itself. And then you're able to work it through, let's say, stretch it through your work area, shoulder width to start with, just as an example. Once your product's distributed, now you're able to go in and ramp up your speed on your machine. And H9 works very well with a rotary. So if you guys are down with rotaries, this will add a fast cut and a lot of heat. I'm using a D8 today, or random orbital, whichever you like to say. Outside in the panel and all that, it's actually designed to give you the ability to do 3 sets of paths. So there's a long working time because you have a diminishing compound. So something that is, the micro abrasives are breaking down over time. So while working with the product, you give it a long working time. Now you're allowing it to go from that of a cut to a polish. It doesn't feel like a chalkboard anymore. And then you asked about a defect up here, and you can see that it removed some of it. It removed some of it just by going over it. So it was a pleasure going through all of our products today. So what we're able to highlight is how our compounds work, how efficient they are, and through the entire line of chemicals, how to read the labels, how to learn to work with the product. We were able to work on a beautiful M4 today. And the nice thing is with the interactions, it was something that not only built confidence in the product, but we were able to describe how each product works through the system to make it easier for all our detailers to stop by today. Again, Casey_KCX on IG. Give me a follow if you have any questions. At the same time, we're here at H20 in Ontario. More than welcome to stop by. We have all the KCX gear here on sale, ready for your car.